I think you all have spent your time here, sacrificing all your other obligations to be here together, us as one community, knowing we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And I thank you for taking that time. And listen, so we're here to speak truth. And one of the things that we know, this is going to be a tight race until the very end, okay? So let's not pay too much attention to the polls, because we are running as the underdog, okay? And we have some hard work ahead of us, but we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is good work. And with your help, we are going to win this November. We are going to win this November. Yes, we will. So look, Georgia, let me say, I'm no stranger to tough fights. Before I was elected vice president, before I was elected a United States senator, I was an elected attorney general, and before that, an elected district attorney. And before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. So every day in the courtroom, I stood proudly before a judge and I spoke 5 words: Kamala Harris for the people. My entire career, I've only had one client: the people. I stood for women and children against predators who abused them. I took on the big banks and delivered $20 billion from middle-class families who faced foreclosure. I fought against cartels who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings. And I stood up for veterans and students being scammed by big for-profit colleges. For workers who were being cheated out of the wages they were due, and for seniors facing elder abuse. And I will tell you, those fights were not easy, and neither were the elections that put me in those offices. But we never gave up, because the future is always worth fighting for. And that is the fight we are in right now, a fight for America's future. We fight for a future with affordable child care, paid leave, and affordable health care. And on that last subject, let's finally expand Medicaid in Georgia, so people can take their child to a doctor or go to an emergency room without going into medical debt. We fight for a future where we build what I call an opportunity economy, so that every American has the opportunity to own a home, to start a business, and to build wealth and intergenerational wealth. And a future where we lower the cost of living for America's families. So when I was Attorney General, I went after price-fixing schemes. And love you back, love you back. And I will tell you, when we get this done together, my friend, and when I am president, I will take on the bad actors who exploit a crisis to rip off consumers on everyday items. To rip off consumers on everyday items like groceries. I will take on Big Pharma and cap the cost of prescription drugs and insulin for all Americans.
high cost of housing and work with developers to cut the red tape and build millions of new homes. And I will give 100 million Americans a tax cut. I know what I'm talking about. And Savannah, but we got some work to do, okay? We got some work to do because we know Donald Trump has a very different plan. He has a very different plan. Just look at his Project 2025 agenda. Right. If he is elected, Donald Trump intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. He intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. And he wants to impose what in effect is a national sales tax on everyday products and basic necessities. And it will cost, the economists will tell you, it will cost a typical American family nearly $4,000 a year. So, like the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. And understand how we got here. When he was president, Donald Trump handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did just as he intended. And now, more than 20 states have a Trump abortion ban, including Georgia. In fact, every state in the South, except for Virginia, has a Trump abortion ban. And think about that. Many, with no exceptions even for rape and incest. That is immoral. Immoral. And let us all agree, one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling her what to do. And if he wins, Donald Trump will go further. He will sign a national abortion ban, you best believe. And he would create a national anti-abortion coordinator and force states to report on women's miscarriages and abortions. It's right there in Project 2025. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Simply put, they are out of their minds. Why don't they trust women? Well, we trust women. And when Congress, let me just say something. Hold up for a second. Hold up for a second. Let me just say something. We are fighting for a democracy. Everyone has a right and should have their voices heard. I am speaking now, but on the subject, I will say this. The president and I are working around the clock. We've got to get a hostage deal done and get a ceasefire done now. So back to this election and Donald Trump. So in addition to the fight on the fundamental freedom to make decisions about one's own body, I have been traveling our country, and the people of Georgia know what I know. There is a full-on assault on hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights including the freedom to vote, the freedom to be safe from gun violence, and an attack on the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride. And we will fight against all of that, including the freedom to live free from the pollution that fuels the climate crisis. Here's the thing. Generations of Americans before us led the fight for freedom. Now, Savannah, the baton is in our hands. So we who believe in the sacred freedom to vote will finally pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Amendment.